YouTube. Today we're going to be diving into Greg Doucette. Everybody knows who Greg Doucette is. He's probably one of the faces of the fitness industry right now. And what we're going to find out is Greg Doucette cap, or does he actually know what he's talking about? See, a lot of people online are like, what is this guy to even tell you what to do? What is this guy to give advice on anything? And he says that he's got some accolades. He's obviously an IFBB pro from his Instagram. But we're going to dive in and find out how strong, how much does Greg Doucette really know? How qualified is Greg Doucette really to give people advice and to make the videos that he does? So let's do it. Up first, Greg Doucette's YouTube channel. One of the coolest things I think about Greg Doucette is if you go on his YouTube channel, he's got no deleted videos. I mean, maybe from like years ago, but Greg Doucette's got no deleted videos. I mean, look at this. This is how it all started. And you can see Greg Doucette originally posting, just doing stuff in the gym, just being a dude, right? And then eventually you see these Greg Doucette, he's making these videos talking to the camera more. And eventually we start seeing Greg Doucette, who we see today, right? I mean, he's starting to make some videos that are blowing up. And all he's doing is just talking about, he's talking about some steroids, stuff like this. Eventually he starts making some thumbnails. And when he starts making thumbnails, you see, as you could tell by video views, starts to blow up, right? And this is when Greg Doucette's career really started to begin, or his new career at least. So to actually break this down, though, we have to see where Greg Doucette start from, right? So his first video, 16 years ago. I'm only 18 years old, so I was 2 at this point. YouTube obviously wasn't a huge thing back here, but Greg Mutant Doucette benched 415 for 4.5 reps after doing 385 for 9, 2007. I was born in 2006, so this is a long time ago, no doubt. 415 for 4.5, that's pretty impressive, especially weighing what he weighed. But if we get up to more around some peak strength, right, let's find him. All right, so bench press world record, WPC world record. So this is an open world record. Something to note there. Let's check this out. So 221 kilos. This is 487 pounds. And he's doing this at a body weight of 198, I believe. Incredibly impressive. And that's a nice bench. That is a nice bench. Nothing anyone could say about this. Obviously, he's not natural in this video. Natty or not. Obviously not natural. But if you go back over here to his oldest videos, you could see that this guy was no joke, right? I mean, he was a bench presser, and as you could see as it goes on, he was a deadlifter as well. 708 for 2. So yeah, definitely impressive. Let's pop over to his open powerlifting, where this may actually skew things a little bit differently. Now, Greg Doucette's personal best, he's never squatted 600 pounds raw before. So that's actually a little bit interesting, right? He probably can't make a ton of comments on people's squats. Saying that the fact that he was on steroids, right? And I don't think he does make a ton of comments on, but being on steroids and only squatting 573. Obviously, he's probably not built for it. Not hating on it. It's a big number, regardless, right? But 573, that's all he's squatted. But 529 bench raw is huge. That's huge, right? No doubt. I mean, he never competed weighing more than like 220? So, okay, yeah, that video that we just watched, he weighed like 217. When he did 529, however, he was 41, weighing 197. I mean, that is a huge bench. Steroids or not, that's a huge bench. Deadlift 678. We've seen him pull like 7-something in the gym before. It's not bad either. Especially still being on steroids, not bad at all. 216 he weighed, 507 bench, and 678 deadlift, push pull meet. Single ply, I mean, his numbers aren't that much greater. But what is important to note when you're looking down here is he's been involved with powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever, his whole life, right? And that gives him a lot of credibility. His first meet, he was 23 years old, weighed 164 pounds, squatted a little over 2 times body weight, bench over 2 times body weight, almost and deadlifted like 3 times body weight, I think that would be. But like very like starter numbers. Obviously, the bench is way beyond. And then 7 years later, see Greg Doucette coming in, single ply benching 501, single ply benching 556, going raw, pressing 413. And you can see that this has really been with him, right? He's competing in powerlifting from the time he was 23 up until he was 41. So it's respect, right? You got to give him some respect there for just being involved in the sport for so long that he probably has some idea of what he's talking about. Simple. But something I do want to mention, Greg Doucette, right? So his best dots were 5'11 dots. Note this. The fact that he's 34 in this, right? A little bit older than most guys, but he was on steroids and he got 511 dots. Note, Greg Doucette being on steroids, 511 dots. 511 dots is huge, right? 500 dots is typically what separates people. Like it basically you become like very advanced at powerlifting once you have 500 dots. Let's just put it that way. 511 dots on steroids, however, is still not bad, but it's not exactly extremely elite. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute. But real quick, I want to use myself as an example. So yeah, Greg Doucette's to his best total, by the way, 1743. But if we go over to where my mouse is, 511 dots, I have achieved 500 dots at 17 years old, naturally, drug tested. I pee in the cup, they took it, right? So maybe he doesn't have the absolute best powerlifting genetics, but it's important to keep in mind he's got a huge bench, but overall powerlifting, he's not extremely elite, right? He was elite enough to get 500 dots, but being on steroids, he did it raw, super impressive. But being on steroids, he's not the best of the best. On bench press, yes, best of the bench. I mean, this 529 at 41 years old and 197, there's nothing to say about that. But 511 dots, so being on steroids, 34 years old, 198, he wasn't the best of the best at this time. He was extremely good, not best of the best, just plain and simple. Now, I'm going to show you guys some of the, if we go over up here, open powerlifting is a great way if you just want to compare people, get an idea. We'll just go raw. And this is untested lifters. Best of the best. As you can see, we got like 665 dots. John Hack, unheard of. But if we scroll down a good bit, I mean, there is, I don't even know. There's almost 200 people who have raw done over 550 dots, right? So he wasn't in the top 200 in that. And you don't have to be in the top 200. But what I will give him the respect of the doubt is if you go down, this is just for raw lifters, we could probably find Greg somewhere in here. I don't even know. Yeah, Greg Doucette, here we go. 1183 powerlifting, right? So powerlifting probably not the best in the world at powerlifting. In 2010, however, he was probably top 500. There's been a lot of, I mean, if you just look up like all of these have been past 2010. He was probably in the top 500 2010, but as of now, he's 1100, right? It's not bad. The numbers are still super impressive, but he wasn't the best of the best at powerlifting. That's just how it is. Still super impressive. Like, you can't take that away from it. But real quick, we're gonna see how does his bench press still stack up, right? So I believe he was in the Masters. He was 41. We'll go bench. What weight class was he? I think he was 198. Greg Doucette, I mean, he still has the 5th highest bench. And it's an IPA, whatever that was, whatever Fed that is, I'm not even sure. But IPA world record. And so, yeah, he's stacking up in the top 5. He's actually 4th against all these other guys. So I will say his bench is 100% world class. His total, his dots, maybe not world class, but getting there, right on the peak, right? Amateur, no, definitely like pro level, but probably not like world class level, right? There's not exactly like pro world class other than like IPF worlds in powerlifting. But if I had to classify them like on like the tiers, right? There'd be like A, B, C, D, E, F, and then there's S tier at the top. I give him like A tier, right? He's probably like right under becoming S tier. So really impressive, though. Really impressive. That's what I'm trying to get at here, but not quite S tier on the powerlifting side. Now, if we go over about Greg Doucette, because there's more to Greg Doucette than just how strong is he, right? Here we go. We have his background. So he's Guinness World Record holding powerlifter. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But IFBB Pro bodybuilder, that's, yep. But now notice, bachelor's and master's degree in kinesiology. That's impressive, right? So he knows something. He was taught something. Coach of more than 1,000 diet, training, and supplement clients around the world. So he's coached a ton of people. He's seen a ton of talent. That's respectful, right? So keeping in mind that he has his bachelor's and master's, he's coached thousands of people, and he's been a powerlifter from the age of 23 to 41. He's building up the credibility, right? As of now, I'm telling you, he's got credibility. And this is before me even looking at the IFBB part, right? I would say he's got credibility. As of now, he could make the videos that he makes. I would say as of now, he can make the videos that he makes. Now, could he give Julius Maddox tips on how to bench press more? Probably not, because I would say his bench press is S tier, but it's not at the top of the S tier, right? Could he give overall just total powerlifting? Could he give the average powerlifter advice? Yes. Could he give any of the people competing in the IPF worlds, could he give any of them advice? I would say no, probably none of them. I don't think he could give any of them advice, right? He could offer his opinion, right, which he obviously does. Obviously, he's going to offer advice. But I'm saying, would it be justifiable? Probably not. But you don't see him going after, powerlifters like that, right? I mean, maybe like he'll make a video time to time saying that someone's not natural, but he won't really make videos saying how to train, this and that, like, oh, you're an idiot for training. He won't, right? And so that's respectable about him. If you really look into Greg Doucette that way, he's been respectful, and he knows his limits, right? He's not on there saying like, oh, SSJ Bob needs to do this, that, and that, right? Because he knows he's not as good of a powerlifter as SSJ Bob. He's a great powerlifter. He could probably offer some advice, but he probably doesn't have quite the qualifications to be like, oh, Bob, you need to do this, right? But on the bodybuilding end, on the other hand, Greg Doucette was a pro bodybuilder 6 years. I'm not sure how many bodybuilding shows he did in total, but if we go over in 2013, his first pro, I believe that this was, I mean, he did these literally a week apart. I don't know how that works, but he got 15th, lower down the level, right? And then a week later, he got 11th. And these are both pro shows, right? So, I mean, not bad, but not great. But he is a pro. He made IFBB Pro, which so few people could do. So automatically making IFBB Pro, that puts him in the S tier of bodybuilding, period. Jump to 2016 when he competes again. And here we have, I mean, he's in Toronto Pro, Vancouver Pro. I mean, he's placing ninth. He's getting better, right? His physiques, you could press on these. You see some pictures from the show. And so he's getting better. But then his last pro bodybuilding show was a 2019 IFBB Niagara Falls Pro, and he got 4th place, which is super respectful, right? So now in the S tier that he's already in, right? So he's in S tier of bodybuilding because he's a pro. End of discussion. If you're a pro bodybuilder, you're S tier bodybuilder, period. IFBB Pro at least. But once he's in the IFBB Pro, placing 4th in an event like this, a pro show like this, I would say puts him halfway up the S tier, right? He's not Chris Bumstead level. He's not Samson Dewar level. But he's definitely not a nobody. He's definitely got a great physique, and he definitely knows what he's talking about. But now, if you go back to this powerlifting and everything else like this, and you combine Greg Doucette, S tier bodybuilder, mid S tier powerlifter, high A tier powerlifter. Sorry, did I say mid S tier bodybuilder, high A tier powerlifter, and you come back and you look at his education, I would say Greg Doucette is very qualified for the job that he has. Period. End of discussion, right? Very, very qualified. Now, was he the best at powerlifting? No. Was he the best at bodybuilding? No, but he was very great at both. He was very, very, very good. Very good at both. And so for today's video, I'm going to say Greg Doucette has the qualifications to make what he to make the videos that he makes. He's not a fluke. He's not a scammer, whatever you want to call him. Say he's a fraud. No, I would not say he's a fraud. I'd say everything that he says probably makes good sense, and up to now he's been very respectful with his achievements and what type of videos he can make. So Greg Doucette, not a fraud. Much respect to him. If he's giving advice, probably gonna be right. And yeah, so that's it for today's video, guys. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. Until next time, Blake one signing out. Peace.